Hey everyone, welcome back to the Poplar Report. What you see behind you is about 1,000 years old. That is absolutely crazy when we think about modern history of things in the United States. The United States being a super new country, 1776, right? Absolutely crazy when you think about that they were fighting battles around the battlements here in the 13 and 1400s during the 100-Year War. That's insane. This thing was being constructed in 1000, and even before that, there were churches and monasteries here going back several hundred years before that. This is off the coast of France. If you're not familiar, we got a cause. We're out to sea just a little bit, so the sea is actually going to be coming in here. So I don't know if anyone's going to be looking at me all like worried, like. But there is a seagull trying to steal my bag. But I think the seagull will be very disappointed when the seagull discovers that it's just a bottle of water in that plastic bag. But 1 kilometer off of the coast here, and as the tide comes in, it basically becomes an island. There is a bridge that goes all year round. But what I really want you to think about, and that's the real big thing, is what things really last the test of time. If you can just imagine, this place was built as a pilgrimage site, as a church back in 1000. It turned into a fortress, a battlement in the 1400s. During up to the French Revolution, and during the French Revolution, this was actually turned into a prison for political prisoners. This monument has seen a lot of history come and go. It's seen a lot of rulers come and go. It's seen a lot of monetary systems come and go. And that's really where we're headed with this. A lot of people are not sold on the whole silver, gold, precious metals. Now, platinum is a little bit newer of a metal that hasn't really been traded, has not really been used as a monetary system for quite as long. But gold and silver go back past the Roman period to the Assyrians, going back even further past the Babylonians, Persians. You go back to ancient Mesopotamia, and we're seeing silver and gold being used as monetary items. People have been buying food for literally thousands and thousands of years. For all of recorded history, people have been able to exchange precious metals like gold, silver, for food. I know some people are like, well, in a real big disaster situation, in a rough situation, no one's going to sell you food for metal that they can't eat. And that's absolutely just ignorant. I mean, it just, in the end, when you look at all of recorded history, even in the worst case scenarios, all throughout history, people have been able to buy bread, buy food. It just costs a lot more. Prices go up in disaster situations, and I guess that's partly what people are kind of getting at, is like, you need to have a lot of gold, a lot of silver to get somebody's last piece of bread. True. Or you could pay someone to take it from them. But, I mean, don't be that guy. Don't be that person, right? But precious metals have stood the test of time. When this place was being built, they were buying rocks for this building. They were paying the laborers in silver. They were paying them in gold. When you look back at how stable gold and silver have really been, it's really astonishing. There's a study out there about 1,000 years ago. They did a study of tax revenues out in, I think it was Mongolia or something like that. But basically, they figured out how much gold this king was getting versus the population, and then extrapolate that out to present dollar values or whatever, and came to the fact that he was basically getting on average about $4,000 worth of gold from each of his citizens. And when you start looking at that, and you look at what the U.S. government gets gold-wise, dollar-wise, from its citizens, is about $4,000 as well. And you just see that, and you see that the tax load back then, 1,000 years ago, was roughly equivalent to what it is today. That might just boggle your mind. When you go back to about 1000 AD, 1,000 years after Christ, right? You get, that's what AD stands for, if you don't know. Anno Domini, basically the year of our Lord. You've heard that phrase probably. Basically, we got a new king in 0, and I know it's off by a little bit, but that was their best guesstimate at the time. And they're like, that's when Jesus started ruling on earth, and he's been king ever since. And so we've the king Jesus' reign for past 2024 years. That's where we get our timestamps from. That's why people are so adamant about changing it to Common Era and after Common Era, and I don't know, all that kind of stuff. But our dating system is based around the Lord. But back, how much was Jesus betrayed for? 40 pieces of silver, right? When you look at the daily wage of Romans in silver, when you look at 1,000, when this place was being built, that's what I actually researched just to make sure. 1 day's wage was about 7 loaves of bread. You got one piece of silver that was that you could buy 7 loaves of bread with. If you were a skilled laborer, you got twice as much, and you could get 14 loaves of bread with that money. And that's not too far off from where we are today. Silver, sorry, that's about 1 ounce of silver gets 7 loaves of bread. And that's, if you're talking about artisan bread, $3-4 for a loaf, 7, that's $21 to $28, $20 to $28, and that's not too far off from what the price of silver is currently, right? So even with all our manufacturing, all of our advances and everything, we're really seeing that we're not all that different. Silver and gold are pretty stable when you look at things. Something that a lot of people don't think about is, sorry, I'm bumping the mic, I guess. Here's some euros. That's a 50 euro note and a 20 euro note. My dad says something interesting on the phone. He says lots of interesting things. You only get the best of the best. But he said, you know, all these currency notes, like the euro and everything else, they come with an expiration date. But if you look all over the note, you don't see an expiration date on it. The US dollars also have expiration dates on them, but you don't know what those are either. At least with canned goods, you get a best by date, but currency, paper currency, it expires. And let's just say it's best by today. It loses its value tomorrow. Every single day goes by, modern currencies are losing value. So, but when do they expire? When does your piece of paper become worthless? Not like worth like a tiny fraction of what it is today, but I mean like you can't use it. Old silver notes. If you go to a silver store or whatever and you get a note that has stamped on it, you know, redeemable for silver, blah, 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 you can't use that paper currency anymore. It's US currency, but you can't use it anymore. People won't accept it. And the European Union keeps phasing out its currency. You can't get anything with that money. You have to exchange it either for real money, according to the European Union, or you can just, like, you know, have bricks of it and light it on fire. That's basically what you could do in the Weimar Republic, but they're basically doing that every single year, every decade. So where do you put your value? Of course, stock up food, that's good. That's good for a few years. If you store it properly, you can store it indefinitely, theoretically. But a lot of these things like rice and beans and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, you're looking at 20 or 30 years if stored properly, right? But if you're looking at passing down value to the next generation, if you're looking at saving up for a retirement, that's a little ways out. I'm 41, so my retirement is a little ways out there. How do you store value for that long? Real estate, that's what everyone says, real estate. But does it really work that well? Historically speaking, not the best, especially since the fact that our real estate is actually quite expensive compared to what it used to be. Real estate has gone up dramatically in value, and that's why everyone's like, you know, I made all my money by buying real estate. You should buy it too. Well, when everybody agrees on something, that's basically the top of the bubble. And that's where everything is right now. Real estate prices are ridiculous. They're out and inflated beyond any kind of real thing. The fact that used houses are selling for more than brand new houses can be built at. It's just all of that taken into account. I don't think real estate's the best way to hide from the storms that are coming. I mean, we got the tide coming in here now, and we're closing in on high tide. This is a low tide week or month or whatever. I'm not sure exactly how all the tides work. But someone's saying last month it was like, you know, all this thing was underwater. And I can tell by what I'm standing on, this seems to be underwater a fair bit of time. And there's not that many footprints on it, which kind of tells me that it was underwater recently. But so I'm not sure how much it's going to come in. I didn't actually check the tidal charts for things. Maybe it's low tide right now. But anyway, the tide will come in here, and a lot of things are going to get underwater. Tourists can get themselves into a lot of trouble here trying to walk across the quicksand, try to walk across this thing if they don't know what they're doing. I'm standing on rocks, so that's... For those of you who worry about me, I'm standing on rocky, sandy stuff. So there is definitely no way I can sink in here because I'm standing on these rocks. But with the tide coming in, just like the storms and the issues of the day, World War III, famine, stock market collapses, all that's coming our way as well. And what do we do with that? I've said this for years, and I know Genesis Gold is a sponsor of this channel, and they do make things kind of happen, and appreciate that partnership with them. But when we first talked about it, I thought to myself, you know, I know that a lot of these gold companies, some of them have a bad reputation. That's the truth. Gold IRA companies, there are some pretty shady ones out there, which is why I want to make sure I partner with a very above the board one. Driven by Christian values that would give our community a really good deal too, waiving setup fees. I negotiated that up front with things, and just as we've gone through this, people have really worked with them and found that they are really dependable and that they're not pressuring. They answer questions. If you want your money back into the process, they are very quick to make things right. A couple people have gotten places where things got a little, you know, went a little off track for one reason or another. I've actually heard about two of them, and I stayed on to kind of make sure that they got taken care of, and I didn't have to do anything. Jonathan, when he heard about that, he jumped on those things and made sure that those situations were cleared up right away, because he's very interested in taking care of people and also protecting his firm's reputation. But I know that there are fees related to moving your IRA into gold. There's fees for having your money sitting in Vanguard. It's any of these mutual funds. They all charge fees, ETFs. Wherever you stick your retirement, you're going to get charged fees. And but I think that gold and precious metals is the best place to hide your money. And so if you're in an IRA, if you have IRA money, moving that money over, I think, is the easiest. I'm not saying it's simple. I'm not saying it's something you should do lightly, but considering the amount of impact you can have by moving your money from stocks, bonds, or even just savings accounts over into gold and precious metals in your retirement account, it really makes the world of a difference. As an accountant, I've seen enough people's tax bills, tax bank accounts. Retirement plans are a great way to go. I personally don't really trust the government with my retirement and such. That's why I prefer to have physical metal and such. But my money's where my mouth is. I have a bunch of silver. I'm not rich enough to have gold, but I got some silver, and you see me flash it on screen every so often. There's fantastic opportunities right now with silver, I think, but I don't think investment, I don't think trading is the best way with it. It's more preserving your wealth. But I think that if silver does adjust upwards to where it should be historically, you're going to see the price go from 30 bucks to well over $100 an ounce, which kind of gives you a trading opportunity too, which is kind of why I'm mostly in silver too. Besides the fact that I can't afford gold, it's just it's expensive, right? But if you really need something compact, gold is fantastic that way. Silver is a great trading opportunity. I can't recommend Jonathan and his team highly enough, and I think that you're going to find that standing the test of time, gold and precious metals are really going to be the way to go. When they built this place, they were transacting in silver and gold at approximately rates that are not too dissimilar to what we see now. Silver was more valuable back then compared to gold than it is today. So if it adjusts back to that, you'll see a big price swing in silver. But I don't know. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm going to put their phone number down below as well, and we'll put their thing on the screen. If you do call them by yourself and you decide to move forward with them, make sure you mention this channel, the Poplar Report, because that way they do waive the setup fees. But if you talk to them, you're not obligated to do anything with them or move forward with them. You can just get your questions answered. You can ask about fees. You can ask about options and stuff like that and see if it's a good fit for you. If you do, like I said, mention this channel so you don't get hit with extra fees. But yeah. Any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'll check through those. That you can always email me. And of course, as you move forward with them, if you get into any troubles or if you have any kind of things that are unhappy to you, you can always reach out to me, and I can make sure that they're treating you right, or that they can get you back out of it at an appropriate way. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the vistas here of Mont St. Michael or Mont St. Michel. I know some of you guys are going to correct me in the comments section, but that's all right. I speak English, not French, so it's Mont St. Michael. But fantastic, and it's an awesome view from up there. It's terrifying for those of us who are afraid of heights, but all right, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. If you want to fill out the form to have Jonathan and his team reach out to you, or you can find them down in the pinned comment down below, their phone number, and reach out to them yourself. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.